Barbara Klein. State and local officials in Oklahoma continue to assess damage after Friday night's outburst of tornadoes. The official death toll climbed today to 10. And as Kurt Gwartney of member station KGOU reports, that includes 3 storm chasers.
The 3 men, Tim Samaras, his son Paul Samaras, and another chaser, Carl Young, were killed in a tornado that tore through central Oklahoma with winds of up to 165 miles per hour. The storm hit the Oklahoma City metro area during Friday's rush hour. Officials say all of the dead were people in vehicles during the severe weather outbreak. Recovery efforts are underway in Canadian County, just west of Oklahoma City. A large vocational technical school was destroyed when the tornado hit. State Superintendent Janet Barisi says many school buildings across the Oklahoma City metro suffered damage from the large hail, damaging winds, and flooding rains, including facilities in Moore, where 2 elementary schools were destroyed on May 20th. For NPR News, I'm Kurt Gwartney in Oklahoma City.
A wildfire in Southern California's Angeles National Forest exploded in size overnight because of high winds. It now covers some 30 square miles. More than 2,000 firefighters are battling the blaze. They say it's 20% contained. 2 wildfires in New Mexico's Santa Fe National Forest have grown considerably since yesterday. The member station KUNM, Carrie Young, reports the fires have burned more than 14 square miles and are not yet contained.
State forestry officials say while the Tres Lagunas and Thompson Ridge wildfires are still growing, crews on the ground are making good progress on building containment lines around the blazes. A forecast of thunderstorms will bring some much-needed moisture to the area. However, state forestry spokesman Dan Ware says gusty winds could complicate matters.
With these little thunderstorms comes the chance for downdraft winds, which could serve to push the fire beyond lines and just make the fire activity a little more intense.
Nearly 200 homes are threatened by the blazes and have been evacuated, although no structures have been burned. Both fires started as a result of downed power lines. For NPR News, I'm Carrie Young in Albuquerque.
Egypt's highest court handed down a ruling today that's likely to fuel the country's political instability. The Supreme Constitutional Court says the Islamist-dominated upper house of parliament is illegal. The court already ruled to dissolve the lower chamber last year. The High Court also said today the panel that drafted Egypt's constitution was invalid. It's not clear what the ruling's impact will be on the legitimacy of the voter-approved constitution. Anti-government protests continued in Turkey for a third day today. Thousands of protesters turned out in 4 large cities, calling on Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan to step down, some clashing with police. Erdogan calls the protesters extremists. This is NPR. Republican Senator John McCain accuses the U.S. of sitting by and watching as Syrian President Bashar al-Assad gains the upper hand in his battle with opposition fighters. And he says diplomacy will not resolve the civil war. McCain met with rebel leaders last week during an unannounced visit to Syria. He says the U.S. should use missiles to destroy runways and rebels should be provided ammunition and heavy weapons. Illinois is currently the only state in the nation that doesn't have some form of a concealed carry law, but that could soon change, as Amanda Vinicky of member station WUIS in Springfield reports.
Illinois is under a federal court order to pass a law by June 9th that will allow people to carry loaded guns in public. On the final day of the legislative session, lawmakers approved a bill to meet that deadline. State Senator Bill Haynes speaks to the difficulty of reaching a compromise.
There are many citizens who fear and loathe handguns. Many thousands of others believe the Second Amendment is a personal right and that they want a handgun for personal defense.
Gun owners would need to pass a background check and they could not bring their weapons to schools or on trains. A separate measure to prohibit the sale of high-capacity magazines failed, despite an emotional in-person plea by parents of children killed in the Sandy Hook school shooting. For NPR News, I'm Amanda Vinicky in Springfield, Illinois.
At the French Open today, Roger Federer beat Gilles Simon to advance to the quarterfinals, and he did it after twisting his foot when he was chasing a shot and his right shoe got caught in the red clay court. Serena Williams crushed Roberta Vinci in today's 4th round. She, too, heads to the quarterfinals. I'm Barbara Klein, NPR News in Washington.
The Home Buyers Association of Kitsap County is an association of professional builders, subcontractors, service providers, and purveyors representing the home building industry. For more than 50 years, the Home Builders Association of Kitsap County has provided information, education, and services that promote the health and welfare of the home building industry. As leaders of the industry, the Home Builders Association of Kitsap County fosters safe, affordable housing and addresses issues affecting our industry. To find out more, visit them online at kitsap.hba.com.
Ish Vintage Clothing and Costumes in Bremerton is your home for quality vintage clothing and costumes and accessories. At Ish, you can purchase the outfit of your choice, or you can rent it. Every rental comes with free accessories you need to complete the outfit, such as belts, purses, jewelry, scarves, hair accessories, and more. Come visit us at Ish Vintage Clothing and Costumes at 249 4th Street in Bremerton.
Hey, sports fans, have you ever wished there was a live and local all-sports broadcasting network? Well, wish no more. It's ISBNsports.com. Kitsap's only live and local all-sports 24-hour broadcasting network, featuring the Kitsap Blue Jackets, the Lubbock College Rangers, high school athletics, and the ISBN Sports Show every Saturday morning from 10 to noon with interviews from exclusive guests from around the Sound. So, you want sports? Go to ISBNsports.com.
Did you know volunteering with the Bremerton Central Lions Club can be fun? Community services for everyone. Young people, families, men, women. As a volunteer, you'll help your community and gain valuable skills, network with others, energize your life, make an impact, and have fun. Get in step with your community and volunteer. Visit us at bremertoncentralwa.lion.wap.org.
The Legacy Group in Silverdale is a well-respected independent mortgage banker, absolutely committed to helping Kitsap County families on their path to home ownership. As an employee-owned company, the Legacy Group has a strong stake in your success, and they want to be your lifetime partner in helping you develop a strong real estate portfolio. Call the Legacy Group in Silverdale today at 698-6440 and find out how they can help you get started on the road to home ownership. 698-6440 for the Legacy Group, a lending experience that's a little different and a lot smarter. As Kitsap County's largest maintenance provider, Team Innovative in Paulsbo provides commercial and residential maintenance to hundreds of millions of dollars of local real estate. With services including parking lot maintenance and street cleaning to landscape and design, Team Innovative is committed to using a green approach and following a strong environmental conscience. Team Innovative Services, 697-6858, or visit them online at getinnovative.net. Team Innovative Services, get serious, get innovative.
The biggest unanswered question is, where is the money?
And faces off with Iran-Contra investigators and often
I'm not going to tell falsehoods to the American people. I'll leave that to others.
You got nerve. After a week off, the Raw Nerve returns right to you right here on Edge Media Source. You can call into the show tonight at 253-617-1440. Now back to your host who's made her way back from meeting family she didn't know she had. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Susan C.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Good afternoon. It is Sunday. On the other side of the board, you're making me sound good as well as he can. Fat Boy Dennis D. Thanks, hon. Appreciate
You're welcome.
it. You know, I wasn't here last week, and I really, really, really appreciate y'all bearing with me. I felt really bad about it, considering that I had been gone for Mother's Day. I hadn't planned on being gone Mother's Day either, but I got kidnapped, basically, by my children, who seemed to think I had something better to do on Mother's Day than this. Well, I'm not going to argue with them out loud to their faces, you know. But yes, we were gone last week for the bestest reason ever. I'm telling you. I found out through Facebook, of all things, through Facebook, that I had an aunt that I never knew existed. Never. Now, this Thursday is my birthday, and I'm going to be 50 years old. It's kind of late in life to find out, start finding out you've got family. But I got to tell you, it's freaking awesome. And I grew up like everybody else watching these shows on, TV, where they'd have long lost family members get together. So-and-so, here's the sister you never knew you had, blah, blah. And everyone's like, oh, how's it going to go? Yeah, you really do worry about that. You do. And I'll tell you, before we went down, I was a nervous wreck. I really was. And I finally decided, I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, look, if I go down there, and the woman is 2.5 hours away from me, where I live, and has been for the last 32 years, and I never knew it. Go figure. What a waste. But I got to thinking about it, and I decided that I wasn't going to get myself all spun up and a nervous wreck, excuse me, beforehand, because I decided that at the very, very worst, suppose when we went down there, she hated me. She couldn't stand me. It went over like a box of rocks, okay? What am I out? Seriously, what am I out? Somebody that has not been a part of my life up to this point, this late date, and I've done pretty well, thank you very much. So what am I really out? Basically nothing. But if I went down there, took the chance, screwed up my courage, knocked on the door, said, here I am, warts and all, and they like me, look what I've gained. Amazing. Turns out she's only 8 years older than I am, which is very close together. So we've decided that in actuality, she's probably the dirty little family secret nobody talks about, and she's really my sister. I love this woman. She is amazing. She is amazing. I now have an aunt/sister at this late date. Hey, better late than never. I met my cousin Ginger, her daughter, who's amazing. She's got a couple of other daughters I haven't met yet, but I will. And she's coming up here in July. Little heads up. We're going to take a weekend, and she's going to come up here and meet my family, the ones I made. Fasten your seatbelt, honey. But she's going to meet my family. And then we're going to go back down to Vancouver, hop a plane, and go down to Denver and meet my brother, whom I have not seen in 32 years. Wow. I mean, here I am at my age, and my family's just booming. And I don't have to be called grandpa or grandma by anybody. This is amazing. I'm used to, my family gets bigger, somebody's calling me grandma, Yeah. But I'll tell you, if you're ever in the situation, and I do not get genealogy. I'll be honest with you. I've tried, and I don't know if it's just that my family tree is particularly kind of twisted, and I think it is in spots. It makes it a little more difficult, I think. But apparently my brother got on an internet genealogy site. I'm not giving him a plug which one. But he managed to back it up, trace it back, and found my aunt. Well, then he let my aunt know, well, here I am. Because she was like, you're kidding. Really? Yeah. I have pictures now. I have pictures that are family pictures that I have never, ever seen of people I have never met. Sadly, a lot of them have passed away because, well, let's face it, I'm not exactly a spring chicken anymore. Cluck, cluck. However, good chance I'm going to live in my 80s. The way the women in my family run. So that's quite a long time to be able to enjoy family that I never knew I had. And I'm telling you, if you ever get the opportunity, if it ever comes up, and I'll tell you, with the society we live in today, with everybody's getting remarried, Dad divorced her, and she remarried him, and then there's half sisters, half brothers, but families are so blended now, one can almost say they're fractured. So it's really, really easy for family members to basically fall through the cracks. It used to be a lot harder because, well, people went and visited these people. You get in the car on Sunday afternoon, drive down, here's grandma and grandpa, and they're taking care of great-grandma or great-grandpa. That's just the way it was, but it's not like that anymore. It's not like that anymore. I love the fact that now I can get on Facebook and talk to my aunt or my brother and kind of, sort of start finding out what kind of people they are. So far, it's pretty cool. I am a very happy woman. But that's what I was doing last weekend. And it was nerve-wracking, and it was exciting, and it was thrilling, and it was wonderful. And I highly recommend it to anybody who gets the chance to do so. They even like me. I'm amazed. Although, I don't know. My mama used to say anybody to play with me, she'd wonder about. Yeah. Lots to talk about today. Lots and lots and lots to talk about today. One of the things I want to talk about is this god-awful weather we've been having. Now, up here in the Washington area, it's been a little gray and overcast, but compared to the rest of the country, I'll take it. Okay.
It's been confusing. That's what it's been.
It's been very bipolar, and we're swinging into a manic phase now where we're going to the sunshine and warm and pretty and all this, and I can live with that for a while. But I got to tell you, the people in Oklahoma, Kansas, Indiana, Missouri, Tennessee, all the way over into Tennessee, Texas, it's not been good. It's not been good. We've had a spate of tornadoes. I don't have to tell you about this. You know about this. You heard the news at the top of the hour saying that the official count now is 10 dead. NBC reported 13. I'm not sure which is correct now. I heard that 8 of them are adults and 3 of them are children, or 2 of them were children. And I've got to tell you, I grew up in Kansas. I spent my whole life up until I was about 20 in Kansas. And I grew up with the sirens, and I grew up with the running for the church basement because we didn't have a basement at the first house we lived in when I was a kid. And I know the drill. I know how it feels. I went through the tornado drills in my school, and we did exactly what those children in Moore, Oklahoma did. They would herd us out. We would line the main hallway in the school, and the schools were always built this way, long ways. And if it was anything else, it was long ways, and then an L. And then that center corridor was always reinforced for this reason. People are saying, well, why don't they have storm shelters for these schools because of the tragedy in Moore? And the bottom line of it is, number one, it's extremely rare for a school to take a direct hit. It's even more rare for a school to take a direct hit during school hours. So you have to understand how tornadoes work. Every spring and every fall, that's tornado season. Always. Always has been, always will be. The reason for that is what triggers tornadoes is bodies of cold air coming in from the north, sinking down, and warm air coming up and rising from the south. Where they meet and mix, that's where you get tornadoes. So in the spring, you've got the cold air from up here and warmer air from down here starting to get warmer, comes up, mixes tornadoes. In the fall, you've got the warmer air, same deal in reverse. Mixes, you have tornadoes.
I always thought it was caused by misplaced trailer parks.
No, actually, in Kansas, we got smart. We used trailer parks for decoys.
Well,
you put the trailer parks around the outside edge of the city, and the tornadoes always go right for them.
Right.
They're decoys. Yeah.
Well, I spent a little time down in Oklahoma as a child.
Okay.
In the Lawton area, so I had my fair share of tornado warnings every other week.
Oh, yeah.
To the point where...
During the seasons.
Yeah, during the seasons. We hear it, and it gave my dad an excuse to go outside and say, well, another one didn't make it.
Oh, no.
Never happened.
Yeah.
And then from there, moved to Spokane, which Spokane sits in a valley.
Right.
So it's nearly impossible for a tornado to hit.
Right.
One day after 6th grade, Spokane goes into a full-blown tornado warning. They lost their mind. It was like Silverdale when it snows. I was walking home.
That's panic.
I'm like, there's no tornado here.
We live in a valley where there's winds. Think about it. Well, the thing of it is, when you live there, you get used to this. I mean, it sounds so horrible to people around the country, other parts of the country, but you really do get used to it. You have the horrific horrific thunder and lightning storms that just rattle the fillings right out of your teeth. I'm not kidding. Rattle you out of bed in the middle of the night. Light up the world as if the sun had just exploded right outside your window. And the atmospherics get very weird when it's tornado-ish. If you go outside and look, you see the black and purple clouds and the storm clouds, what you see anywhere else. But if you keep watching, if it is the kind of conditions that can spawn tornadoes, you'll see a weird greenish hue enter into the clouds. And the air actually takes on, and this sounds very weird, but it takes on kind of a yellowish hue. Just a hint, like a tinge of yellow. It's very, very weird. But I guarantee you, anybody who lives in the Midwest, who goes outside and sees these conditions, even if the sirens aren't going off, you turn on the news and you open the basement door and get ready to make me a dash. Because you know nothing good is going to come out of this. This has been it's been a late tornado season, but it's been a bad one. And for those of you who aren't aware of it, yesterday, we started hurricane season. Yeah. And this line of storms that's going on, they haven't completely died out yet. They're still heading to Tennessee. Go figure. Now, we have wildfires in Southern California that are exploding. Exploding. The reason they're exploding, the vegetation is very dry. They've had drought down there. The vegetation is very dry. The winds, and they are considerable, are very warm. So that promotes fire activity in the canyons and the valleys and whatnot that they have in Southern California. I got to tell you, anybody who can look you in the eye and say there's no such thing as global warming is beyond an idiot at this point. Sorry. We've had stronger tornadoes or hurricanes, go back to hurricanes, in the last few years. I mean, all the way back to Katrina. And every year we're getting worse and worse tornadoes. Every year we're getting worse and worse hurricanes. Hurricanes are caused, tornadoes are caused by hot and cold air meeting and mixing. Hurricanes are caused by hot and cold water mixing. And the more heat that a tornado crosses, or a hurricane crosses coming across the Pacific, and it's sucking heat up out of the ocean, it's Pacific Ocean, it's warm. It gets into the Gulf of Mexico, it gets warmer. And the more heat it can suck up out of the ocean, the bigger and the stronger and the higher classification, category 2, 3, 4, God help us, 5, hurricane that we get. It is the extra warmth that we are experiencing in the world that is causing this. I've been paying attention. I've been going back and checking some figures, and we have had just unbelievable jumps in hurricane strength that we've seen in the last, say, 10, 15 years. Tornado strength, tornado numbers, hurricane numbers. People don't realize during hurricane season how many tropical storms are out there. They're like one after the other. They're lined up like kids at Disneyland. Boy, I'll tell you, boom, 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 boom. The vast majority of them die out once they get about mid-Pacific. They get away from the land masses that puts a lot of heat into the ocean. They get away from it. The water cools down compared to what it was where they started, and they start losing strength. And then you've got a tropical storm, then you've got a tropical depression, then you've got oh, look, it's a little rain. We'll have a spot of rain this afternoon. Yes. However, if those tropical storms can maintain the temperature, if they can maintain the amount of heat they're sucking out of the ocean, they do not die down. They at least maintain their strength as they cross the Pacific. And yes, these things cross the entire Pacific Ocean or Atlantic Ocean, yeah. And it's amazing to me. You watch this and it's amazing. They don't die down. When they come over and they get towards the Gulf of, they go around the Bahamas, they get to the Gulf of Mexico and all this around the Florida, it gets much warmer. They get stronger. They get bigger. We get Katrinas. We get Sandys. Now, Sandy, when it hit, was technically a tropical storm. It was no longer technically a hurricane anymore. Tell that to the people who are still homeless. Yep, and there are a lot. The problem comes when you have enough heat in the land, you have enough heat in the water, that these storms aren't losing their engines. That is the engine to these storms, is heat, period. That's all that drives these storms is heat. And if they don't lose their heat, like when they cross the land, a lot of times you hear about a hurricane, what's going to hit land, it's going to be horrible here where it hits, but then it's going to cross up here and it's going to die down to tropical depression and die out. Sandy didn't. Oh, it died down. It became a tropical storm, did tons of damage. But do you realize how far Hurricane Sandy traveled just to go up there and hit up there in New York area? Thousands of miles. Now, tornadoes are scary. God knows I know. They are scary. But the worst one that they had, which was the one that hit Moore, Oklahoma, about 13, 15 days ago, that was on the ground for 40 minutes. Now, it boggles my brain, having seen tornadoes, having been running from tornadoes in my life, it boggles my brain the idea of 40 minutes of one of these things churning and burning on the earth. The kind of just unbelievable damage that can cause.
And a mile wide.
Oh, a mile plus. A mile plus. Just see this wall of death coming at you is basically what you're looking at. 40 minutes is unbelievable. For a hurricane to churn its way up the coast, and it's banging up Florida, and it's banging up Tennessee, and it's banging up Georgia, and South Carolina, North Carolina, and all the way up until it hits New York. I can't imagine what that must have been like to watch this coming. Mind-boggling is the only word for it. And the only common denominator to all of these storms and the wildfire seasons we've been having, and we've been having much earlier wildfire seasons, if you've noticed, they're lighting off earlier, they're bigger, they spread faster. It's heat. Heat. It's kind of scary when you think about it. It really is. But I'll tell you, people, the nice thing about living in the Midwest, you get used to it. You know what to do. And people were very, very smart. It's amazing that those hurricanes went through and there were only, I say only, that's so sad, 10 or 13 people killed. But I'll tell you, you know where the majority of people were killed? In their cars. The dumbest thing you can do during a hurricane, tornado, dumbest thing you can do is get in your car. People think, and it is really, it seriously is a gut reaction. There's not a lot of conscious, intelligent thought to it. It's a gut reaction. Get away. The dumbest thing, though, you can do is get in your car when there's a tornado around. Number one, they can track a tornado. It's coming from the northwest, and it's swinging to the southeast, and it's following it back. Yeah. Tornadoes do everything except what you expect them to do. A tornado can be on the ground, snap up into the air, and pop back down again. Just like that.
The tornado itself doesn't have to kill you, but it can bring a lot of stuff with it that can.
That's what usually kills people in a tornado. It's not the winds. It's the stuff the winds are blowing around. They hit you. There were people in that one storm chaser car, the one that the people actually walked away from, picked up their storm vehicle, and it was reinforced and protected for this sort of thing. It threw that car 200 yards. 200 yards.
Yeah, that's a job. I'm not in a big hurry to go out and...
That is 2 football fields. Mm-hmm. 2 football fields. Holy crud. And I'll tell you something. A big thing nowadays, and it is big money, are what they call, you know how you have whale watching tours up here? People come out from all over the country. They come out to get on a boat, go out and see a whale. Mm-hmm. Back home, back in the Midwest, people are going on tornado tours. They're coming out, and going out in vans with a bunch of other people from all over the country. They've got their cameras to see tornadoes. Honey, if you're close enough to see it, trust me, you are too damn close. This is The Raw Nerve. I'm Susan Corcoran, and my good friend Bad Boy Dennis D will be back right after these messages. I'll see you in a sec.
Ish Vintage Clothing and Costumes in Bremerton is your home for quality vintage clothing and costumes and accessories. At Ish, you can purchase the outfit of your choice, or you can rent it. Every rental comes with free accessories you need to complete the outfit, such as belts, purses, jewelry, scarves, hair accessories, and more. Come visit us at Ish Vintage Clothing and Costumes at 249 4th Street in Bremerton.
Hey, sports fans, if you ever wished there was a live and local all-sports broadcasting network, but wish no more, it's ISPNSports.com. Kitsap's only live and local all-sports 24-hour broadcasting network, featuring the Kitsap Blue Jackets, the Olympic College Rangers, high school athletics, and the ISPN Sports Show every Saturday morning from 10 to noon with interviews from exclusive guests from around the Sound. So, you want sports? Go to ISPNSports.com.
Did you know volunteering with the Bremerton Central Lions Club can be fun? Community services for everyone. Young people, families, men, women. As a volunteer, you'll help your community and gain valuable skills, network with others, energize your life, make an impact, and have fun. Get in step with your community and volunteer. Visit us at bremertoncentralwa.lion.wap.org.
The Legacy Group in Silverdale is a well-respected independent mortgage banker, absolutely committed to helping Kitsap County families on their path to home ownership. As an employee-owned company, the Legacy Group has a strong stake in your success, and they want to be your lifetime partner in helping you develop a strong real estate portfolio. Call the Legacy Group in Silverdale today at 698-6440 and find out how they can help you get started on the road to home ownership. 698-6440 for the Legacy Group, a lending experience that's a little different and a lot smarter. As Kitsap County's largest maintenance provider, Team Innovative in Paulsbo provides commercial and residential maintenance to hundreds of millions of dollars of local real estate. With services including parking lot maintenance and street cleaning to landscape and design, Team Innovative is committed to using a green approach and following a strong environmental conscience. Team Innovative Services, 697-6858, or visit them online at getinnovative.net. Team Innovative Services, get serious, get innovative. The Home Buyers Association of Kitsap County is an association of professional builders, subcontractors, service providers, and purveyors representing the home building industry. For more than 50 years, the Home Builders Association of Kitsap County has provided information, education, and services that promote the health and welfare of the home building industry. As leaders of the industry, the Home Builders Association of Kitsap County fosters safe, affordable housing and addresses issues affecting our industry. To find out more, visit them online at kitsapHBA.com.
And welcome back to The Raw Nerve on Edge Media Source. Now back to your host, Susan C., talking about the bad weather.
Hey, it's not so bad now. Thanks, Dennis. Thanks. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're having a great Sunday. I hope where you are, there's a little ray of sunshine shining down on you. I really do. We need it. It's just been a horrific couple of weeks. It really has. And I'll tell you, my heart and prayers go out to the folks in the Midwest who are dealing with this. I can't imagine. It's bad enough to have one bad tornado come through. Been there, seen that, absolutely. But when it's a line of them, one after the other, and you just get your head up above ground and got to duck down again. I couldn't imagine. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, got a lot to talk about today. In the next hour, I'm going to get into the whole Monsanto thing with the genetically altered food, and I'll tell you. If you didn't know who's behind Monsanto, boy, are you in for a shock. I was floored, blown away, and amazed. Absolutely. But there's just been a few things, and I've been away for a couple of weeks to be able to talk about things that annoy me. And this one absolutely blew my mind. No kidding. No kidding. The mother of a 14-year-old arrested over the Memorial Day weekend, just had the Memorial Day weekend, on a Miami public beach, is accusing the police of brutality. Why, you might ask? Why? Apparently, after officers forced her son to the ground and put him in a chokehold, police accused the teen of this: clenching his fists and giving the officers dehumanizing stares. Yeah, that's in the police report. Dehumanizing stares. Marisa Holmes of Miami Gardens took her family to the Haulover Beach for a Memorial Day picnic, as so many people did over the holidays, and says that her son, Tremaine McMillan, was horsing around with friends in the water and playing with his new puppy, being a perfectly typical 14-year-old kid. He was approached by two officers on ATVs, and she told sources at the officers, after realizing the teens weren't actually fighting, they were just horsing around, ordered Tremaine to take them to his mother. She says her son complied. The officers say he didn't. Now, as she says, as he was walking towards me, I see the officers walking behind him with the puppy in one hand and the bottle to nurse the puppy with the other hand. Now, she says the officers grabbed Tremaine. They slammed him to the ground. They choked him to the point he couldn't breathe, and he urinated on himself. Yeah. I kept asking him, please get off my child, because he can't breathe. And they kept saying, get back, get back. Now, the mother captured this arrest on her cell phone camera. It is, as far as I'm concerned, rather horrific. Police tell a different story, saying the police report obtained by sources that Tremaine pulled away from the officers, clenched his fist, and said to stop following him, despite walking towards his mother, and that he gave them dehumanizing stares. Yeah. A Miami-Dade police spokesman, Detective Javier Baez, told the press that on phone that if you clench your fist, that's a sign of aggression. We have the ability to defuse that situation and redirect you in order to defuse the situation, with redirect referring to forcing the teen onto the ground. Now, Holmes, not terribly surprisingly, insisted her son wasn't doing anything wrong except bringing them towards me, as they told him to do. She says the police grabbing Tremaine caused him to drop the puppy, which hurt its leg, and that she's had to give the puppy away this week because she can't afford the veterinary bill to fix it. Tremaine, a student at Carroll City Middle School, was charged with disorderly conduct and resisting an officer with violence. He has a July 16th court date and has been assigned a public defender. Now, she says, I'm angry because you don't do a child like that. What if it was one of their children? That's a minor. She accused police of putting whatever they wanted to put in the police report to try to make the charges stick. Oh, like that would never happen. Right. Yeah. Now, the poor kid that went through all this, he said one of the officers told him during the arrest that if he was an adult, all of his bones would be broken. That's adult. That's real adult. It made me feel sad because I didn't get to have fun or eat with my family on Memorial Day. And as for them doing that, it made me not like police, period. Now, the mother's talking to a lawyer about taking legal action, but she can't say anything because the case is still pending. Have any of you ever seen I'm going to say, 12 to 16-year-old child? I'll narrow it down and say 12 to 16 years old.
Sure.
God help you.
I was one once.
Were you now?
For a minute.
God help you. Have you ever tried to raise a child between the ages of 12 and 16? All you get are clenched fists and dehumanizing stares. Somebody made a comment on the story that, what is a dehumanizing stare? What does that mean? And I'm thinking to myself, it's that look every kid gets when you tell them to do something they don't want to do. They know, well, if I come out and say, well, you're a real idiot, I'm going to get whacked. So I can't do that. So I'll give you the look. Everybody knows the look. If these cops don't recognize a 14-year-old child being a 14-year-old child, they have no damn business being cops. And they sure as hell have no damn business carrying a gun. Because they're not grown up enough or mature enough to handle the job. Obviously. Could you imagine throwing a little kid? I'm sorry. He may be taller than me, but 14 years old is still a little kid. Throw him down to the ground and choke him out till they pee themselves? Really? Were they that scared of him? Were they that afraid he was going to, I don't know, turn on them and hulk up or something? You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. God. And then hurt the puppy. So the family had to get, not only was their day ruined, their whole weekend was ruined. The kid now is probably, for a good portion of his life, tainted in his view of police officers. They had to give up their new puppy they just got because she can't afford the vet bill to fix it. I hate crap like this. You don't treat people like this. It's not right. Good Lord. We have in this country today an epidemic. We have an epidemic of autism, ADD, ADH. We have a whole alphabet of difficulties for children to face in the society. I wish I knew why it was so prevalent now. It didn't used to be. But I don't know why. But I do know it's a fact of the matter. It's there. And we'd better damn well learn to live with it. We'd better learn to cope with it. We better learn how to handle the society we all have to live in a little better than this, I would hope. I have a 13-year-old grandson. He has ADHD. He is a handful. And he can be a pistol. And I'll tell you something. If a cop ever threw him on the ground and choked him to the point he peed his pants, the police department that is in control of the leash on that particular police officer will never know what hit it. There will be the wrath of God, and it will be mighty. Now, do not misunderstand me. I absolutely admire police. I am very, very thankful there are people who are willing to do this job. I'm not. You see what I'm doing. I was a firefighter EMT for 8 years. So I figure, I kind of look at it that I did my civic duty in that respect, but pin on a cop badge? No. I may run into a burning building, but I'm not running into a fight. That's just the way it is. I'm a fat little short woman. I'm not going to go get beat up. No. I'm very thankful that there are people that are actually willing to go through, and it's a lot. What you have to go through to become a cop, you don't just fill out an application, show up, take an interview, and here's your badge. It's a little more complicated than that. Thank God. So I am very grateful for police officers, and I do absolutely salute them. My father, eons ago, was a motorcycle cop. And you better believe he taught me to respect police officers. But I'll tell you something. He also taught me that just because you wear the uniform doesn't make it automatic. Like anybody else, you earn respect. This is not earning respect. This is a black eye for you. It's a black eye for your police department. And it's a black eye for whatever municipality in Miami, Dade County, or wherever it is that this particular police officer belongs to. We just went through the whole thing with Seattle police. Every time you turn around, they were getting brutality charges. Everybody and their brother has a camera now. Everybody has a camera. It's their telephone. And have you noticed that we live in a society where nobody can seem to put their damn telephone down? People walk around with it in their hand, to their head, in their purse, in their pocket, where they can grab it quick. I'm surprised they don't have them in those little quick grab holsters. Bing, bing. Yeah. Now watch. Now they'll be everywhere. Everybody has a camera. And people are not shy about pulling their cameras out and videotaping. And they will film anything they find weird, bizarre, funny, sexy, or frightening, or outrageous.
Or something that might make them some money somewhere.
Oh, they're all praying, please, please be the biggie. No. It rarely is, but I just can't imagine being so, I don't know, burned out or so in a mindset, having a job of this kind of responsibility, that you could let yourself treat a child like that. I don't care if he's as tall as I am. He's still a kid. And I can tell. I don't care if you're my height or taller. I can still look at you and tell if you're a kid. Okay? It's, I don't know, maybe that fuzz trying to push out your chin right there around the pimples. Yeah. It ain't that hard. It just ain't that hard. God, annoying me to no end. But what are you going to do? Now, here, I am an eclectic person. I have interests across the board. And I found something that I thought was hysterical. I love it. I love pirates. I have a thing about pirates. I want to be a pirate. I want to grow up. I want a pirate ship. I want to shoot cannonballs and have a parrot and the whole 9 yards. I think being a pirate is like the most awesome, cool thing ever. Okay. Much cooler than zombies. So there.
Yeah, we'll write that one down.
I'll never grow up. I want to be a pirate. Okay. I just think it's cool. Well, I found out there's 5 ways that pirates were way more modern than we realize. Boy, they were absolutely progressive. Now, remember, we're talking a bunch of people that lived in the 17th century, like 1632, the original Captain Morgan of the rum fame. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a real person. He was a real pirate. Yes, he was. And I'll tell you tend to think of pirates as bloodthirsty thieves, brutal rapists, and vicious murderers concerned only with their every woman amassing as much wealth as possible. Well, pretty much they were. However, in some ways, pirates were bizarrely ahead of the societal curve for the times. In fact, some of their viewpoints could be heartily endorsed by campus newspapers at any liberal arts college today. Believe it or not, that's true. Did you know that pirates had health insurance?
No.
They had health insurance. Yes, they did. Now, you probably figured they didn't have much in the way of medical benefits, but I'll tell you, you'd be amazed. Especially considering they didn't have much in the way of medicine back then. But what can I tell you? The most effective treatment for gangrene was a woodcutter's axe, a bucket of hot tar, and a bamboo reed to bite down on. But beyond that, when a typical workaday consists of shooting terrified sailors in the face while rival pirates hurl themselves at you with blood-tarnished daggers clenched between their teeth, you'd imagine that you'd be expected to cover the cost of any, lost limbs, eyeballs, gougings on your own doubloon. Yeah, but you'd be wrong. You would be wrong. In reality, the crew of renowned pirate, liquor mascot, Captain Henry Morgan, yes, he's the same guy, got a little captain in you, same guy. He had one of the first comprehensive, all-inclusive health insurance systems in recorded history, ever. Before the assault on Panama, Morgan drew up a charter for his crew that guaranteed certain benefits for any man who was injured in battle. Any one of his 2,000-strong pirate crew, he had a huge pirate crew, but any of his 2,000 men under his command was entitled to 600 pieces of eight for the loss of a hand or a foot, 1,800 pieces if they lost both legs, 200 pieces for one eye, and 2,000 pieces for total blindness. That's about $153,000 in modern currency money. We assume peg legs and eye patches were covered by a joint flex account, but any member of the crew could opt to receive his delimbing payout in slaves rather than money. We said they were progressive. I didn't say they're paragons of virtue. Okay? Progressive. So you can probably go into your boss's office right now and announce that your health insurance policy is worse than that of a 17th century marauding sea criminal and be totally correct. You'd probably also be starting to notice your photo hanging up everywhere next to a list of emergency page codes for the entire building. Yes, indeed. People will worry about you if you do this. They will wonder. I promise you. Pirates, did you know? Those manly men had a perfectly acceptable form of gay marriage. Did you know that?
No.
They did. To be certain, there's a certain amount of situational fooling around that occurred among the all-male crews of buccaneer ships back in the golden age of piracy, much like there is in modern-day prisons and professional wrestling organizations. But it's not as though those super grizzled, hyper-masculine throat-slitting machines engaged in same-sex relationships, right? Guess what? Some historians absolutely claim that the original Pirates of the Caribbean type situations, and these are pirate crews who docked, traded, and intermittently lived in port towns in the West Indies during the 17th century. Remember, that's any year with 16 in the front of it. Had entire communities where homosexual couples were considered perfectly acceptable. It's fine. You see, pirates had a form of civil partnership called metallage.
Go ahead.
I don't speak French.
You didn't practice before you got here?
I did, and I had it down, damn it. I had it down. Metallotage. There we go. Metallotage. A marriage-like institution wherein two male pirates shared all of their, loot. Stuff with each other. Additionally, each would name the other as his sole inheritor. So if one were killed, everyone understood that whatever he had goes to his partner. Nobody batted an eye. It's amazing. Now, it was essential for financial security for a pirate. They didn't have a lot of financial security. You know, it's really pretty sad. A lot of these relationships were romantic in nature, possibly because these situations could routinely be observed having relations. In 1645, the French government of Tortuga decided to import thousands of prostitutes to try to neutralize the rampant homosexuality. Because of this type of response, the governments had to do two things. They had to do things about it. Not that it's likely to have made a great deal of difference, though. Pirates in these situations shared everything, including wives. They shared everything. It was totally the most fair situation you can imagine. Everything was absolutely 50-50, and there was no squabble about it. It's amazing, actually. Adding mixed threesomes to the gay love-in was probably not the outcome France was going for, but France being France, you can never be too sure. The point of it is, my gosh, they had it right when the rest of the country... We haven't got this figured out yet. People are up in arms going, oh my God, the gay people, they can't get married yet. Oh my God. It was good enough for the pirates, it's good enough for us. Did you know that pirates practiced religious tolerance? In an age, and this is a truth, when the golden age of piracy in the 16th century... This was a time when European Christians, still crusading to Jerusalem, tried to kill every Muslim who had the audacity to live there. How dare these Muslim people be living in these Muslim countries? We got to fix this. Yeah. And these weren't the pirates. Excuse me. These weren't the pirates. These were the, you'll pardon the term, good guys. Yeah. Now, you can only imagine how pirates would have reacted to, say, a bunch of Muslims. Actually, as long as there was gold involved, they didn't give much of a rat's. I'll tell you, pirates had a brilliant outlook. They had a goal. They worked towards that goal. The goal was gold. The goal was gold. Advancing their fortunes. Bigger ships, more men, lots of loot. They did not much care what your ideology is. They didn't care what your opinion is. They didn't care that you don't like same-sex relationships. Too bad, walk the plank. We're going over here where it's fine. They didn't care what your religion was. As long as your goal met up with their goal, which was simply more gold. It's pretty simple. But I thought it was really amazing. It cracked me up to no end that I had no idea that pirates were as tolerant as they are. There was no stretching of ideologies here. There was no, oh boy, I can't get my brain around this idea. They didn't care. And I'm not saying the pirates were terrific human beings. Come on, they weren't. But I got to tell you, this was not a small population of people. At the time, there were huge enclaves of pirate people, crews. I mean, Captain Morgan had over 2,000 just for this one trip he took to Panama. This one battle he was anticipating. He had over 2,000 men. So you can figure there were a lot of them. And if you've got all these men that can live together, work together, look out for each other, have the same goals. Why can't we do that today? We look down on pirates today. Well, now today's pirates they're horrible human beings. Absolutely. The Somalians, yeah. But we look down on Blackbeard and Bluebeard and Captain Morgan and all of those swashbucklers of old. But I'll tell you, they weren't the best of people, but I'll tell you back then, the best of people wasn't pretty much the best of people then either. It's hard to find the best of people back then by our standards. But I'll tell you, I'm actually pretty impressed. We can learn a lot. I don't understand how society can go backwards. I really don't. If two people love each other, mazel tov. It's a God-given right. That's why we have hearts. If you have somebody working for you and they get hurt, take care of them. They get hurt while they're doing that job for you that you hired them to do, take care of them. This was not rocket science in the 17th century. I don't understand why it has to be in the 21st. What a thought. What a thought. And I'll tell you, if they could get along with the Muslims back then, when anybody who wasn't Muslim hated Muslims, let's get our acts together. Lighten up. We only live once. Go take a break at the top of the hour here. We'll be back right after the news. You're listening to The Raw Nerve right here on EdgeMediaSource.com. Dennis and I'll see you in just a few.
In Washington, I'm Barbara Klein. The death toll from Friday's violent storms and tornadoes in central Oklahoma is rising. Emergency officials now say 14 people died. Among the victims, 3 storm chasers. NPR's Karen Grigsby Bates reports 2 of them were stars of a popular Discovery Channel show devoted to tracking and chasing storms.
Tim Samaras, his 24-year-old son Paul, and his colleague Carl Young were killed in El Reno, Oklahoma, as they were chasing one of the deadly storms that flattened parts of that state last week. Tim Samaras and Carl Young were stars of Discovery Channel's Storm Chasers series, which concluded in 2011. Since then, Samaras had been an expert on severe weather for the media. Here's part of his last field report for MSNBC shortly before he was killed.
The systems and the ingredients come together so just right that generate these incredible, powerful storms, and today is no exception.
Samaras was considered one of the safest storm chasers in the field. Discovery's Sunday special on the Oklahoma disaster will be dedicated to the Samarases and Carl Young. Karen Grigsby Bates, NPR News.
Republican Senator John McCain says Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has the upper hand in the country's civil war and diplomacy won't resolve the conflict. And he tells CBS's Face the Nation the U.S. should get off the sidelines.
We are seeing, unfortunately, a battlefield situation where Bashar Assad now has the upper hand, and it's tragic, while we sit by and watch.
McCain paid an unannounced visit to Syria last week. He says the U.S. should use unmanned missiles to destroy runways in Syria, and rebels should be provided ammunition and heavy weapons. The Air Force says it's accelerating the rollout of its advanced F-35 fighter, its most expensive jet, despite automatic federal spending cuts. And as NPR's Larry Abramson reports, the plane will be put into service before its software capabilities are fully developed.
The Air Force says its version, the F-35A, will achieve operational capabilities in December of 2016, earlier than previously announced. The plane is in testing right now, but in 2016, 12 planes will be put into operation and can even be sent into battle if necessary. But those fighters will not have the full complement of software and weapons. The Air Force eventually plans to buy more than 1,700 F-35s. The Navy's smaller fleet of F-35s won't be operational till 2019. Despite tight budgets, the Pentagon has stuck with its commitment to the F-35, which some critics consider a waste of money. Larry Abramson, NPR News, Washington.
A fire raging in Southern California's Angeles National Forest expanded fourfold overnight to more than 30 square miles. Firefighters are getting some help today from lower temperatures. This is NPR. Fire crews in New Mexico are battling two blazes, both of which spread from private lands into the Santa Fe National Forest. The larger Tres Lagunas fire has spread to more than 11 square miles, and what started as a relatively small fire near Jemez Springs has grown to nearly 3 square miles. A spate of economic indicators is due out this week. It includes the country's trade balance, what the Federal Reserve's Beige Book says about the economy, and whether the labor market is slowly bouncing back. Danielle Carson reports.
Almost 40% of the U.S.'s economic growth has come from exports over the past few years, but recently they've plateaued because of the global economic slowdown. So economist Bernard Baumol hopes to see stronger numbers in April's trade balance.
Exports are very important for the U.S. because it creates jobs. That certainly is going to be one of the key indicators we're going to be watching.
The Federal Reserve's Beige Book survey is expected to show steady, if not spectacular, growth. And the big kahuna, the jobs report, comes out Friday.
I'm expecting that we're going to be seeing an acceleration in hiring for the month of May. The economy is looking better.
If the labor market improves dramatically, analysts say the Fed could scale back its bond buying program. But that could spook investors and trigger wild swings in the stock market. For NPR News, I'm Danielle Carson.
Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke delivered the commencement speech to graduates at Princeton University today, and he quoted everyone from Lily Tomlin to Forrest Gump, but said little about the economy. And while investors usually scrutinize everything, Bernanke says, today he said economics explains why past choices were wrong, but about the future, he said, not so much. I'm Barbara Klein, NPR News in Washington.
Heather Madden, former machinist, wins success as a skilled professional rock star.
No more working dusty old machine shops for me. Being the boss of my own professional rock band has improved my life in every way, and I owe it all to the cool gear at Kitsap Music.
What do you want? Substantial spare time? Groupies? Leather pants? Use only certified cool products from Kitsap Music.
Hey, sports fans, have you ever wished there was a live and local all-sports broadcasting network, but wish no more? It's ISPNSports.com. Kitsap's only live and local all-sports 24-hour broadcasting network, featuring the Kitsap Blue Jackets, Olympic College Rangers, high school athletics, and the ISPN Sports Show every Saturday morning from 10 to noon with interviews from exclusive guests from around the Sound. So, you want sports? Go to ISPNSports.com.
As Kitsap County's largest maintenance provider, Team Innovative in Paulsbo provides commercial and residential maintenance to hundreds of millions of dollars of local real estate. With services including parking lot maintenance and street cleaning to landscape and design, Team Innovative is committed to using a green approach and following a strong environmental conscience. Team Innovative Services, 697-6858, or visit them online at getinnovative.net. Team Innovative Services, get serious, get innovative.
Did you know volunteering with the Bremerton Central Lions Club can be fun? Community services for everyone. Young people, families, men, women. As a volunteer, you'll help your community and gain valuable skills, network with others, energize your life, make an impact, and have fun. Get in step with your community and volunteer. Visit us at bremertoncentralwa.lion.wap.org.
The Legacy Group in Silverdale is a well-respected independent mortgage banker, absolutely committed to helping Kitsap County families on their path to home ownership. As an employee-owned company, the Legacy Group has a strong stake in your success, and they want to be your lifetime partner in helping you develop a strong real estate portfolio. Call the Legacy Group in Silverdale today at 698-6440 and find out how they can help you get started on the road to home ownership. 698-6440 for the Legacy Group, a lending experience that's a little different and a lot smarter. The Home Buyers Association of Kitsap County is an association of professional builders, subcontractors, service providers, and purveyors representing the home building industry. For more than 50 years, the Home Builders Association of Kitsap County has provided information, education, and services that promote the health and welfare of the home building industry. As leaders of the industry, the Home Builders Association of Kitsap County fosters safe, affordable housing and addresses issues affecting our industry. To find out more, visit them online at kitsapHBA.com.
I want to thank you for letting me be myself again.
Welcome to hour number 2 of the Raw Nerve on Edge Media Source. Feel free to call on into the show at 253-617-1440. Or just log on. You can send a message. Have your questions. Do what it is you do. Get something off your mind. But here's your host, Susan C.
Thanks, Dennis. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Glad to see you here on this beautiful Sunday. It's turning out to be real pretty out there. Real pretty. Now, if we can just get all across the rest of the country, we've done something pretty good here, I'll tell you. Joining me, of course, is Bad Boy Dennis D. behind the booth. He's making me sound as good as he can.
Yes, I do.
That is a tough job, I got to tell you. Now, there's a lot of things going on in the world that people are going nuts over. A lot of things right now. And when you do something like I do, you have to sort of pick and choose which one you think is the most, I don't know, bizarre or the most seriously impactful. I'm thinking this whole GMO thing. GMOs. Everybody's up in arms. GMOs. These are genetically modified organisms. That's GMO. That's what it stands for. They're in our foods. A lot. People are up in arms. Absolutely. And I don't know. The jury's still out. There hasn't been enough testing. And this is the part that upsets me. There hasn't been enough testing to prove that these modified food products are not harmful. It's one thing to say, well, there's nothing in them that could be harmful. Well, prove that they aren't first before you start messing around with our nutrition. It's kind of important to us. Yeah. Now, just to give you a background, I want people to understand exactly what this is because there's a lot of confusion. A lot of confusion. And genetically modified, they have made a huge splash in the news lately. European environmental organizations and public interest groups have been actively protesting against genetically modified foods for months now. And recent controversial studies about the effects of genetically modified corn pollen on monarch butterfly caterpillars have brought the issue of genetic engineering to the forefront of the public consciousness in the U.S. In response to the upswelling of public concern, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration held 3 open meetings in Chicago, Washington, D.C., and Oakland, California, to solicit public opinion and begin the process of establishing a new regulatory procedure for governmental approval of genetically modified foods. Now, just to make it simple, as simple as I can make it, this is convoluted to say it, to put it mildly. The term GM, or GMOs, is most commonly used to refer to crop plants created by, for human or animal consumption using the latest molecular biology techniques. This is cutting edge in some respects. It really is. These plants have been modified in the laboratory to enhance desirable traits, such as an increased resistance to herbicides or improved nutritional content. The enhancement of desired traits has traditionally been undertaken through breeding, cross-pollinating, come up with a new plant, blah, 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 on down the line. That's very hit or miss, though. It's not a terribly accurate method, and it takes very long. Genetic engineering, on the other hand, can create plants with the exact desired trait very rapidly with great accuracy. For example, plant geneticists can isolate a gene, a single gene, responsible for drought tolerance. Insert that gene into a totally different plant, and the new genetically modified plant will gain the drought tolerance as well. It's pretty mind-boggling if you think about it. It's amazing. Now, not only can genes be transferred from one plant to another, but genes from non-plant organisms can also be used. The best-known example of this is the use of Bt genes in corn and other crops. Now, Bt, or Bacillus thuringiensis, is a naturally occurring bacterium that produces crystal proteins that are lethal to insect larvae. Bt crystal protein genes have been transferred into corn, enabling the corn to produce its own pesticides against insects such as the European corn borer. For okay. It's so confusing. There are the 2 different types of modifications that you can get. You can get where they actually take individual genes. We'll take, let's say, the blue-eyed gene over here and put it in this brown-eyed mother and have blue-eyed babies. That's the idea, okay? Oh, where did that come from? Or they can take certain, call it active ingredients, in certain bacterias that otherwise could be harmful, actually harmful to you or me, or harmful to the plant, and use it to make the plant stronger, make the plant resistant to pesticides, resistant to pests. It's amazing. It really is. If you get into it, it's amazing what they can do. Now, the world population has topped 6 billion people. No surprise here. It's predicted to double in the next 50 years. Double to 12 billion in the next 50 years. Ensuring an adequate food supply for this booming population is going to be a major challenge. Yes, it is. And supposedly genetically modified foods as the promise of science, if you will, to meet this need in a number of ways. Come up with pest-resistant crops so that the losses to insects go significantly down. We lose a lot of crops all around the world to locusts, borers, weevils, you name it, caterpillars, tons and tons of bugs. We lose a lot. And if they use things such as BT corn to help eliminate the loss that they get from the common pests, that's a lot more food in the food cycle, as it were. Herbicide tolerance for some crops. It's not cost effective to remove weeds by physical means such as tilling, so farmers will often spray large quantities of different herbicides or weed killers to destroy weeds. This is a time-consuming and expensive process that requires care so the herbicide doesn't harm the crop, plant, or the environment. Let's hope. Crop plants genetically engineered to be resistant to one very powerful herbicide can help prevent environmental damage by reducing the amount of herbicides needed. Now, they can also come up with disease resistance, cold tolerance. How often have you heard Florida and Southern California, their crop of fill in the blank, being decimated because a cold snap comes through? The orange crop, the fruit crop, the citrus crops, decimated. They can genetically engineer a cold tolerance within the plants themselves so that they don't lose as many oranges, apples, whatever, as they normally do. Which, in and of itself, on the surface, is amazing. They can genetically produce drought tolerance and salinity tolerance in plants as the world's population grows and more land is utilized for housing instead of food. They'll need to grow crops in locations previously unsuited for plant cultivation. Creating plants that can withstand long periods of drought or high salt content in soil and groundwater will help grow crops where formerly they couldn't grow them before. They can improve nutrition through genetic modification. They've come up with a golden rice. It contains an unusually high content of beta-carotene, vitamin A. Since this rice was funded by the Rockefeller Foundation, a nonprofit organization, the Institute hopes to offer the golden rice seed free to any third world country that requests it. Plans are underway to develop the golden rice that also increased iron content. However, the grant that funded the creation of these two rice strains was not renewed, perhaps because of the vigorous anti-genetic modified food protests going on all over Europe. Yes. Pharmaceuticals can be vastly aided in this pursuit with genetically modified plants. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of things that they can come up with that on the surface sounds wonderful. Sounds like boons to humanity here. But I got to tell you, according to the FDA, there are over 40 plant varieties that have completed all of the 40 requirements for commercialization to become genetically modified products. Over 40 plants. Some of them are their tomatoes and cantaloupes have been modified to their ripening characteristics. Soybeans and sugar beets that are resistant to herbicides, and corn and cotton plants with increased resistance to insect pests. Not all these products are available in supermarkets. However, the prevalence of the GM foods in U.S. grocery stores is more widespread than is commonly thought. That right there gives me pause. Absolutely. Don't put it in my supermarket and not tell me. You want to grow it. You want to process it. You want to put the money behind it to support it and grow it. Fine. Put a label on it. I want to know when I go to the grocery store and I'm buying food for myself and my family, I know exactly what it is I'm buying. There's labels on them to tell me they're organic. Why aren't there labels to tell me they're GM products? I don't think that's asking that much. I really don't. The bottom line is there has not been hardly any testing to prove that these modified food products are harmless in our environment. There's been a lot of testing to figure out how to do it. You can bet that. This is, like I said, it's a cutting edge. This is not easy stuff to do. You're down to the molecular level to do this. But I'll tell you, look, strange things come from the littlest mistakes. Half of Washington sneezes and has runny, burning, sneezy eyes and miserable allergies this time of year every year because the road department thought Scotch broom was pretty. And they brought in tons and tons and tons of plants and planted them along our roadways. They don't have to mow them and they're pretty. And yet thousands and thousands and thousands of people are horribly allergic to it. Now we can't get rid of it. It's everywhere. The stuff spreads like a weed. Amazing, isn't it? Yeah. Parts of the country, Hawaii has a huge problem with cane toads because they brought the cane toads in because the cane toads eat a pest that was decimating their pineapple crops and their sugar cane crops. So they brought in the cane toads to eat the pest. Turns out the cane toads are a bigger pest than the original bug in the first place. It's terrible. We have proven time and time and time and time again that, yes, better living through science. DuPont, I remember that. But it's never, ever, ever apparently thought out well enough. Somebody's always ready to hit the button and jump the gun and get it in the market and make money on it before we know what it's really going to do when it gets out there. And this is just wrong. I have no problem with you want to research this. Fine. Maybe you can find a way to help the world feed everybody they're going to have to feed. But I want to know if I'm eating it. I want to know if I'm buying it. Because to be perfectly honest with you, right now I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't. The thing that really alarmed me and gave me absolute pause was when I saw a list of, on this side is Monsanto employees. Okay, Monsanto is the number one. They're the people who make pesticides. Monsanto, like Roundup, they make pesticides. That's what they made their money doing. All of a sudden, they're branching out into this genetic modification. But if you look at Monsanto employees, their Monsanto position, and then their U.S. government position, it's downright frightening. Ann Veneman is on the board of directors for Monsanto. She also happens to be the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture. Really? Donald Rumsfeld, you might have heard that name before. He's on the board of directors and happens to be the U.S. Secretary of Defense. Clarence Thomas, remember Clarence Thomas and Anita? Yeah. Supreme Court Justice. He is a Supreme Court judge and he's on the Monsanto Council. Islam Siddiqui is a Monsanto lobbyist. He is also the agriculture negotiator, trade representative. I can't talk today. It's a good thing I don't have to talk much. Yeah. The agriculture negotiator, trade representative. This is a guy who goes to other countries and negotiates trade deals. Right. And he is a lobbyist for Monsanto. Roger Bleachy, director of Monsanto. He's a director of the USDA in IFA. The director of the USDA. Really? How about Hillary Clinton? She's on the Monsanto Council, First Lady, former First Lady,
Not
U.S.
Hillary.
Senator. Yes, Hillary. Secretary of State. Former Secretary of State now. Yeah. Michael Taylor is the Vice President of Public Policy for Monsanto. He's also Deputy Commissioner of the FDA. Linda Fisher is the Vice President of Government and Public Affairs, happens to be the Deputy Administrator of the EPA for the United States government. Do you see what I'm saying here? Monsanto is built and supported, operated, and run by basically the U.S. government. Not with the U.S. government's, omni, go forth and be good, seal of approval, but with a whole bunch of key players. And I don't think the head of the USDA has any business being a major key proponent of this company that's in the middle of this debate. I really don't. I depend on the USDA to look at my food, look at where my food's coming from, make sure my food that I'm buying, that I'm feeding to my family is healthy, safe, and nutritious. That's what I want to know. I want to know that there aren't more than, I don't know, what is it, 6 spider legs in a jar of peanut butter or whatever you're allowed to have. Yeah. I want you looking into stuff like that. I want you looking in to make sure that my spaghetti sauce that I buy
is really spaghetti sauce.
I make my own, thank you. But the spaghetti sauce that you buy really is spaghetti sauce, and it's not going to make your hair fall out, and it's not going to make your kids stupid. Okay? We have seen, the point is, I'm being kind of tongue-in-cheek here, but this is so serious. We have seen what rampant greed in some companies can do. China. Do you remember the Melamine scare in China?
No.
Chinese babies were dying. And these are the ones that weren't flushed down the toilet. Yeah.
Oh.
It's a whole other story right there. Their babies were dying and they didn't know why. Come to find out that one of the major suppliers and manufacturers of infant formula in China was substituting a filler product called melamine, powdered melamine, in their baby formula. Why would they do that, you ask? Well, it's called greed. It's like a cocaine dealer, and he cuts his cocaine with baby laxative, powdered baby laxative, because it makes it go further. You can sell, instead of having a pound to sell, all of a sudden you've got 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds to sell. It's greed. Pure and simple. There's no pretty term for it. There's no putting, lipstick and a silk purse on it. It's greed. And there is nobody, from what I've been able to determine in my many years of watching the world, nobody is above it. Nobody. Most of us can say, well, I'm not a greedy person. We've never really been in a position to be greedy. I like to think I'm not. But I'll tell you, I'm not sure I trust this list of people not to be. And if they're the foxes watching the hen house to keep our food supply safe, the hell are we supposed to do? We don't have a lot of options here. The days of growing your own in the back 40 are over. People can't afford the back 40. We're losing family farms right and left because they can't afford the back 40 anymore either. And I tell you, investors drove down the price of Monsanto stock by 4% this last Friday. And that's a huge drop, 4%. Because South Korea joined Japan in suspending imports of U.S. wheat after an unapproved strain of genetically modified wheat was discovered in a field in eastern Oregon. It wasn't supposed to be genetically modified wheat. This is the whole point. It wasn't supposed to be. Japan, South Korea, and many other countries over in Europe right now, they don't want this. They don't want it imported. And I got to tell you, a huge amount of our federal income comes from food products that we sell to other countries, such as, wheat, corn. We sell huge amounts of this stuff, food products, overseas to other countries. If they now don't want to buy it because they don't trust it, and I'm not entirely sure I blame them for not wanting to trust it yet, we're going to be really, really, really hurting. And boys and girls, I don't know if you've noticed this, but our federal government is not doing that well financially right now.
Yeah. No, and the kids don't get along.
No, the children cannot get along. I swear, I want to paddle them both, send them to their rooms.
Something.
President Obama, you go over here. Congress, you go over here. Boy, how tired would you get of paddling all those congressmen? Get your mind out of that gutter. Get your mind out of that gutter.
Way too late.
I know, way too late. I should have known the minute it crossed my lips. But the bottom line of it is, we can't afford this sort of panic in other countries over our food. We don't want to have the panic here because we don't want to take the risk of eating something that has not been proven safe in the long run, especially for children, developing children. We can't lose that money because they don't want to take that risk either. Yeah, what are you going to do? We're going to take a break now. When we come back, I'll see you in a few on The Raw Nerve. See you in a sec.
Cause the weeds are high where corn don't grow.
Humane Society is an independent nonprofit committed to providing positive, life-changing solutions to people and companion animals. Our vision is that every adoptable animal has a home. In 2010, we rehomed 4,111 pets. For more information on our programs, services, and animals available for adoption, visit us on the web at kitsap-humane.org. Kitsap Humane Society. Rescue, rehabilitate, rehome.
The Home Buyers Association of Kitsap County is an association of professional builders, subcontractors, service providers, and purveyors representing the home building industry. For more than 50 years, the Home Builders Association of Kitsap County has provided information, education, and services that promote the health and welfare of the home building industry. As leaders of the industry, the Home Builders Association of Kitsap County fosters safe, affordable housing and addresses issues affecting our industry. To find out more, visit them online at kitsap.hba.com.
Heather Madden, former machinist, wins success as a skilled professional rock star.
No more working dusty old machine shops for me. Being the boss of my own professional rock band has improved my life in every way, and I owe it all to the cool gear at Kitsap Music.
What do you want? Substantial spare time? Groupies? Leather pants? Use only certified cool products from Kitsap Music.
Brothers Power Sports has been a locally owned family business in Bremerton since 1949. From new and pre-owned motorcycles, ATVs, scooters, boats, and watercraft to parts and service and apparel. Brothers Power Sports is committed to being your source for all your motorsports needs. And they're a proud sponsor of the Habitat for Humanity of Kitsap County. Brothers Power Sports, 5205 1st Street in Bremerton, and online at brotherspowersports.com. Stop in and feel the difference at Brothers Power Sports in Bremerton.
Hey, sports fans, have you ever wished there was a live and local all-sports broadcasting network, but wish no more? It's ISPNsports.com. Kitsap's only live and local all-sports 24-hour broadcasting network, featuring the Kitsap Blue Jackets, the Olympic College Rangers, high school athletics, and the ISPN Sports Show every Saturday morning from 10 to noon with interviews from exclusive guests from around the Sound. So, you want sports? Go to ISPNsports.com.
As Kitsap County's largest maintenance provider, Team Innovative in Paulsbo provides commercial and residential maintenance to hundreds of millions of dollars of local real estate. With services including parking lot maintenance and street cleaning to landscape and design, Team Innovative is committed to using a green approach and following a strong environmental conscience. Team Innovative Services, 697-6858, or visit them online at getinnovative.net. Team Innovative Services, get serious, get innovative.
And well, folks, we're back to the raw nerve, and it's the home stretch, the last half hour. And back to your host, ladies and gentlemen, Susan C.
Thank you, Dennis D. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome. I'll tell you, it's been interesting. I was off last week. I wasn't here last week while I was out finding new family, reconnecting with my roots, as it were. Awesome time. But there's been a lot of things happening. There's been a lot of things going on that have just been like, wow. And I'm a pretty eclectic person. I'm all over the board. I love everything having to do with science and history and in business and just everything. I also have kind of a warped and twisted sense of humor. Anybody who knows me will attest to this, right?
Yeah.
A little bit twisted. So I got to tell you about this story I came across. It cracked me up. People in Albuquerque, they've got to be a cut above or below, as it were. Who knows? Apparently, a New Mexico man faces multiple charges after police say he was, now follow this, he was having sex with a woman while driving drunk and crashed his car, thereby ejecting the woman from the vehicle. Follow that? He was having sex while he was drunk driving. Most people are just satisfied with, I'm going to take a chance to have a few drinks. No. This is what you call pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
There ought to be an award or something for people like this. It's stupid. Apparently, Louis Briones had his shorts on inside out after he wrecked his Ford Explorer. His female passenger was found naked outside the SUV after being ejected. And he is being charged with aggravated DWI, reckless driving, and evading police. There should be another charge in there somehow. Somehow, I'm just my soul says there should be another charge somehow.
Yeah, he should be charged with, I don't know, being a little too stupid.
It should be a crime.
I'll use that word.
It should be a crime to be over a certain level of stupid. If you blow stupid at such and such point, you that should be a crime.
Yeah, and the cop gives you a breathalyzer, and the gun just rings a bell, and a stuffed animal comes out the end.
Yeah.
You didn't really win.
Yeah, you don't win that way. Yeah. But they said that his female passenger was found naked outside the SUV after being ejected. She had deep cuts to her face and head. And this paragon of public serviceness tried to drive away after the crash and leave his passenger behind. But thankfully, a witness grabbed his keys from the ignition. He also tried to hide from responding officers behind a cactus. I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm going to leave it alone. No attorney was listed for him. Yeah, I wonder why. I spent a good 15, 20 minutes just trying to get my brain around the logistics of how that could work. And I got to tell you, I can't get it. I can't figure that one out.
I had a show at another location once prior to here and had a caller that was a security guard. I could figure out what the security guard was calling in and talking about, but he could hear my show coming out of this car that was someplace it wasn't supposed to be.
Oh.
And then he thought he was talking to the guy, and then her head popped up out of his lap.
I wonder what they were doing. Of course, being pure as a drone snow, I have no absolute clue.
I've never felt so much like Barry White in my life.
Did you the voice drop 3 octaves right there?
Didn't have to. And as a matter of fact, K-Dog was doing the show with me.
Oh, my God.
We spent an hour going, what was that guy talking about?
Yeah.
And he calls back, and I'm like, this is the greatest show of my life.
I love it. By the way, y'all might have noticed, if you're watching the show, which you can do if you go to edgemedia.com,
yes.
edgemediasource.com, excuse me, you can click the button on the screen, and you can watch the show. Got a camera here. And you might have noticed that Bad Boy Disney has been having some fun.
I have. I learned how to do something. I'm playing.
He learned how to do something, and new technology is a dangerous thing for some people. Yes, it is. He's been having fun with the background. So he keeps changing it up. What, did you think the guys on TV, those are always, really expensive backgrounds? No, they're not.
I always wondered how the
CG.
weatherman did it.
That's the same idea. It's the same principle. It's
Thing
a
is,
green
you're
screen.
not back there pointing at the green screen.
No, the weatherman actually, the screen is green, the wall is green beside him, and they're projecting on the
image,
green
yeah.
screen, the green screen. They're putting off the image of the weather front or whatever like this.
Yes.
He's actually, and if you pay attention, you can tell, he's actually looking at a TV screen that would be like over here, a monitor. And this is what he's looking at when he's showing this and this front up here and over here and the Tri-City area. Yeah, he's watching this TV screen over here for reference of what he's talking about. And he's got the little clicker in his hand that's
I would get
changing
so turned around.
the picture. It is a talent. It is a talent. It takes a lot of practice to get good at it. But I've always thought it would be so fun to show up in one of those, those one-piece bodysuits that are all one color, get a green one, and go mess with a weatherman somewhere. I think that would be a blast and a half. On my way to jail. Well, it would be fun. It'd still be fun. But that's why, if you're watching this, that's why the backgrounds keep switching. Because somebody learned a new trick. And they're playing.
Yes, there's going to be more next week.
Oh, I can't wait to see this. Well, I'll tell you
I've
what.
got issues,
I'll tell you what. If we have brilliant children in this country, and we do, we have some brilliant children. What a bizarre concept that we should actually, nurture them, reward them, hold them up as an example to other children, what to aspire to. Heaven forbids we should do such a thing. In Newcastle, Wyoming, a Wyoming high school senior who built, get this, a nuclear reactor. I'll say that again. A Wyoming high school senior who built a nuclear reactor. No kidding. Was disqualified from the International Science and Engineering Fair this month on a technicality. Apparently, they said that the 18-year-old Conrad Farnsworth of Newcastle had competed in too many science fairs. I didn't know that was a rule. Now, according to the Casper Star Tribune, the infraction was reported by the former director of the Wyoming State Science Fair, who later did not have her contract renewed. Officials at the University of Wyoming, which sponsors the state event, said after the international fair that the director had acted outside of her authority. In other words, they weren't too happy with her decision and her actions. Now, the newspaper reports that Farnsworth is one of 15 high school students in the world to have successfully built a nuclear fusion reactor. He graduated this month and plans to attend the South Dakota School of Mines. Good Lord. So 15 high school kids around the world have built actual nuclear fusion reactors.
Great. Big Bang Theory for real.
That's kind of scary, isn't it?
And we thought the little kids in Columbine were bad.
Yeah, man. I hope somebody's watching over these kids. I mean, I'm sure it's simply the reactor. They don't have the fusionable materials. But still. But not to let the kid be in the science fair? Come on.
Yeah.
If you're that damn smart, run the thing.
Well, exactly. It's teachers are probably intimidated.
Makes me wonder, what do the other kids have, This is the life cycle of a potato and a fruit fly. And then over here, this is my actual working nuclear fusion reactor. Yeah.
Look, it's a kid that can make a light come on by a potato.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter did a science project one time trying to see if she could change the color of her hamster's fur from white to colored by feeding it colored food.
Uh-huh.
It didn't work.
Yeah, no.
I didn't think it would, but I let her try.
Worth a shot.
Hey, that's how you learn. Want to buy a Mort?
A what?
You know how people brag about having what is it? There's a brand of refrigerator out there. It's Sub-Zero or something like that. Really high-end refrigerator. I got that beat. We're talking a fridge big enough for a family of 4. New York's Office of General Services, has turned to eBay in an attempt to sell off a huge steel morgue refrigerator now located at the Manhattan Psychiatric Hospital. Think about the possibilities. Think. How many Jell-O shots could you get in a... But bidding began on Saturday afternoon. It was up to $475 for the 4-drawer unit. 4-drawer unit. I'm picturing this in my head. You know I am.
Yeah.
I love this. I really do. The price does not include delivery, and buyers will have to be willing to remove the fridge themselves from the Manhattan Psychiatric Center. Now, you got to think, okay, morgue is always, down the basement?
Yeah.
4-drawer unit. Pretty good sized. Do you have any idea what it would cost to get that thing out of there? Oh, my Lord. Apparently, a spokeswoman of the Office of the General Services said that the ad's no hoax. She said the agency does get unusual surplus items to sell from time to time, including barber chairs from prisons and police cars. But she doesn't recall a previous sale of a morgue cooler. The auction runs through June 6th, so get your bid in now. Yeah. Just remember, you have to pay to have it removed and pulled out. Yeah.
Let's go bid on the morgue cooler.
Well, think of it as a conversation piece. An icebreaker. You have a party, you have a bunch of people over. Let's just all go in the kitchen and look at the morgue refrigerator.
It's from a hospital. I give it that.
See, here's the milk.
I'm still going to have a hard time wanting to put my beer and my milk in this thing, no matter how much I've scrubbed it, because the Lord only knows what they were cooling.
Well, you know what they were cooling. Mm-hmm. Although on the upside, it's a psychiatric hospital, so it's not like Ebola or beriberi.
No, it was people's problems that were frozen down there.
Yeah. I was reading that, and I'm just like, my mind just went with it, and I'm like, I can just see having people over and, have a condiment and put it back. That'd be cool. I don't know. I'm kind of weird that way, but I think that would be cool. I would do it. Y'all remember the big asteroid that came up real close to the Earth Friday? There was a big asteroid. Now, why is she talking about something that already happened? Because I found out something cool. I love astrological incidents like this. I love things like comets and meteor showers and, all that. I think it's awesome. I love to follow it and I love to watch it. But that big asteroid that came by, it was so big, it had its own moon. Think about this.
That's large.
Yeah. According to the Associated Press, astronomers getting their first close-up glimpse of a giant asteroid about to whiz by, now this is from before it happened Friday, found a surprise bonus rock. A smaller moon asteroid is circling the larger space rock. It's an unusual but not unheard of space phenomenon. Now, the larger 1.7-mile-wide rock, named asteroid 1998 QE2, really? Queen Elizabeth II? Will be the closest to Earth on last Friday at 5:59 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Now, it didn't get any closer than 3.6 million miles away, so it's quite a ways out there. It wasn't a threat to us or anything like that. But it's about the size of the space rock that did hit us and wiped out the dinosaurs. It was about that size. And they discovered that it has a little moon going around it. And I'm like, what a bizarre thought. What if it swung by and, I didn't get you, but my moon hit your moon? Knock things out of orbit or something. I just thought that was kind of cool. I had a moon. I've never heard of that in my whole life. Never heard of an asteroid.
Yeah, because you think something that's big enough to have a moon, it's going to be orbiting around like a sun or something.
Yeah. It kind of amazed me.
And these things are just kind of cruising through.
Just going by.
The universe.
Just whizzing by. Hi. Yeah, keep going. Keep moving. Nothing to see here.
Giant free-floating rock, and if it hits us.
With a moon. Wow. Now, this I found absolutely amazing, and I love science and health issues and things. In the U.S., women dying of cervical cancer has gone down dramatically since the advent of the Pap smear. This is no surprise to most people. The Pap smear, however, is a technology that, while common in the U.S., is not that common in other countries. For one thing, they can't afford the steps that have to be done to collect, store, test, all the things you have to do. They don't have that kind of money. I am absolutely boggled by this. They have come up with a simple vinegar test. I kid you not, a vinegar test.
Something simple?
Something simple and cheap. Cheap. A simple vinegar test slashed cervical cancer death rates by 1/3 in a remarkable study of 150,000 women in the slums of India, where the disease is the top cancer killer of women, period. cut it in third. How amazing is that? I thought that was so fabulous. Doctors reported the results last Sunday at a cancer conference in Chicago. Experts called the outcome amazing and said that this quick, cheap test could save tens of thousands of lives each year in developing countries by spotting early signs of cancer. That allows treatment before it's too late. I'm telling you, apparently, if you put vinegar, like if you swab a woman's cervix with vinegar, something about the acidity in it causes cancer cells to briefly turn colors. They change color, but only cancer cells and precancerous cells do this. Normal healthy cells don't change color. So they can go out into the back cities, these horrible poverty-stricken places where women are dying like flies, do this simple test. If there's any color change, treat you for cancer. Boom. And they've already cut death rates by a third. Wow. That is mind-boggling. The only sad thing is that this is the poorer parts of India. This isn't the more modernized, upscale, 21st century part of India. And a lot of the women, their husbands have to give them permission, or their brothers, or whatever male in the family that dictates what they can and can't do has to give permission for this to happen. And they're not giving permission. Because a lot of them, when they find out the women have to disrobe to have the test done, walk out. It's a catch-21. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Here we have this, we can save your life. We can save your life. But you have to let us do the one thing you've been raised from the time you were this tall to never, ever, ever let somebody do. I'm not sure how you get around that. It's a cultural difference.
Yeah, definitely is.
I suppose it's going to have to be culturally changed. And I'm not believe me, I'm not a big fan of changing other people's culture because it's different from mine. However,
tough to do.
I'm telling you, it is. But it's like they're in Pakistan, they're shooting UN workers that are going around vaccinating children against polio. Pakistan is one of the few countries in the world that cannot say that polio has been eradicated in their country. One of the few. And I'm sorry, I think if I was sitting there in Pakistan and I was looking around, and I'm like, well, they don't have polio anymore, and they don't have polio anymore, and they don't have polio anymore, but I have polio down here. What are they doing that I'm not? Maybe I should try this. Just saying. Just saying. I really don't. I mean, it's easy for me to say I don't understand why they don't allow it, because it's hard to understand the way I grew up in this country with our society. It's hard to imagine. But then we have a whole segment of our society that has suddenly decided not to vaccinate their children in this country from things such as whooping cough, which was effectively eradicated something like 20 years ago, because some celebrity came out and said, these shots give children autism. And oh my God, did people believe him? Really? Even though there has been study after study after study after study done since that proves that the vaccinations we're giving children, their normal childhood vaccinations, have no harmful effects, do not cause autism, do not cause any sort of, ADHD or any sort of developmental behavioral issues in the development of this child. For some reason, parents are still more willing to believe a celebrity who has absolutely no business opening their mouths about a topic like this. They don't have the background. They don't have the training. All they have is star power. You should be burned at the stake for being that arrogant. And now, whooping cough, Washington State, where we're at, just the tail end of last year and the first part of this year saw epidemics, absolute epidemics of whooping cough. And guess what? Babies die of whooping cough. We had children die. because their parents chose not to have them immunized. So how can I say that, what they're doing is wrong over there and what we do is right? Because in some respects and in some areas and in some reasons, for some reasons, we're doing the same stupid thing. I swear. When I was a kid growing up, you took your chances. Measles. Everybody got measles. Mumps. Most kids got mumps. Sickest I ever remember being in my life of all the childhood illnesses I caught was from the mumps. That was miserable. Whooping cough, kids got it. You name it. Now we can vaccinate our children to prevent them from getting... And most kids get these diseases and nothing terrible happens. The vast majority of children get the measles. Nothing bad happens. But then you've got the child over here who catches the measles and is left blind or is left dead or deaf.
It shuts down a country.
Right.
It's sad.
If it's your child, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
You can't say, it's not a harmful thing. Well, yeah, of course it is. That was your child.
Yes,
Whooping cough kills children.
Yes. And we will hold you responsible for being stupid.
I wish we could. I'm sorry. I am not a believer in the government stepping in and telling parents how to raise their children. They've done way, way too much of that. Anytime the government can make you feel... Anytime society can make you feel like you go out in public, your child is being an absolute butt, and you give them a couple of swats on the butt to straighten their act up, and parents are looking at you like, oh, call CPS. Child abuser. No. Child discipliner. Absolutely.
There's a difference.
There is a huge difference. I mean, my own daughter, one of my daughters, who shall remain nameless, doesn't want to go anywhere with her kids because her kids are a handful. And if she has to discipline them, she doesn't want somebody calling CPS on her because she gave one of the kids a swat on the butt. She's that scared of it. Wow. And I'm like, really? That's sad. And no, don't think, well, she must really think she's doing something big. No, she's just that paranoid anymore of getting called in for something she didn't do. I know my children, they're perfectly normal. So are my grandchildren. Thank you very much.
It's your dog that I'm scared of.
Yeah, be afraid. Be very afraid. But I'll tell you, I absolutely think there should be some sort of repercussion to parents who the technology is there, the availability is there. All you have to do is bring your child in. Your child gets immunization, does not get whooping cough, does not get diphtheria, does not catch tetanus, does not get the measles, the mumps, the whole list. And if you just decide not to do that, no. I don't know, maybe your kid, assuming your child survives it, could sue you when they get older, reach the age of majority for, I don't know, pain and suffering.
Well, they could divorce you now, so.
I know, isn't that weird?
I mean, why not?
Yeah, my kids never divorced me, damn it. No, I was stuck with them the whole time. No, I've got 3 awesome kids. I really do. 3, and you know what? They got swats on the butt. Now I got to admit, swats on the butt were limited to the biggies, the really big things that could get you killed. Hanging out push out the screen and hang out the bedroom window. You're going to get a paddling. Pull away and run across the parking lot in Target parking lot or something like that. You're going to get your butt paddled. But I'm telling you, I'm really tired. I'm really tired of the assumption being made, and people put out the image that if you do discipline your child, you are somehow a bad person. Really? And I'm all for timeouts. I'm all for grounding the child. I'm all for taking away, I don't know, their Xbox, their smartphone, their iPods, the list goes on and on and on. Take it away. You bet.
Yeah, don't be afraid.
Oh, no kidding. Raising a kid nowadays, all you have to do is I want you to do something. I don't want to. Yeah, you got no internet. I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
I have been a witness to my stepdaughter's grandmother. Tired of the girls leaving their little video games down.
Yeah.
And grandma said, Pick it up or I'm taking it. 9-year-old had to come, 10-year-old came back with, no, you're not. It's mine. You can't take it. I'm like, I wish you would come back to me and say that.
Oh, come ahead, honey. Go ahead. Yeah, it took us a while to get through to our children that they own nothing. They don't. They own nothing.
No, they borrow it and lease it, and
we let them use whatever. We give them birthday presents and Christmas presents and all this stuff. Yeah. But they don't really own anything. Because anytime you're in trouble, I have the right to take your whatever, fill in the blank, I don't care what it is, away from you.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's your bedroom door. It's my house. One of my kids found that one out, too.
That used to happen to my other half.
Oh, yeah?
Go in your room and you start having too much of a fit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lose your door, lose lights.
There's a difference between discipline and abuse. And I'm so tired of people saying there's never a reason to hit a child. Hit a child? No. Spank a child? Yes. There's a difference between hitting a child and spanking a child. We just had some idiot in Washington State put a 6-week-old baby in a freezer and left them there for an hour because the baby wouldn't stop crying. Really? If it gets to you that bad, tell you what, put the baby in, the bathtub, somewhere like that. You crawl in the freezer for an hour and cool down.
Yeah, because, definitely no call there for that.
And what amazes me is when I read the list of charges he's up on, and there's several, child endangerment and whatnot, attempted murder wasn't. And I don't know why attempted murder wasn't on the list of charges. Because any idiot knows you don't put a baby in a freezer and expect them to not do poorly. Right? I don't get it. I really don't get it. But I'll tell you, if we can come up, this is science on the good side. What they're doing in India with the vinegar, that is, God bless them. Science with the GMO, I'm not so sure. Well, thanks for sitting here and listening to me ramble. Dennis D and I'll be back next Sunday. Y'all have a great week, and I'll see you then. Thanks.
From NPR News in Washington, I'm Barbara Klein. The death toll from Friday's violent storms and tornadoes in central Oklahoma is rising. Emergency officials now say 14 people died. Among the victims, 3 storm chasers. NPR's Karen Grigsby Bates reports 2 of them were stars of a popular Discovery Channel show devoted to tracking and chasing storms.
Tim Samaras, his 24-year-old son Paul, and his colleague Carl Young were killed in El Reno, Oklahoma, as they were chasing one of the deadly storms that flattened parts of that state last week. Tim Samaras and Carl Young were stars of Discovery Channel's Storm Chasers series, which concluded in 2011. Since then, Samaras had been an expert on severe weather for the media. Here's part of his last field report for MSNBC shortly before he was killed.
The systems and the ingredients come together so just right that generate these incredible, powerful storms, and today is no exception.
Samaras was considered one of the safest storm chasers in the field. Discovery's Sunday special on the Oklahoma disaster will be dedicated to the Samarases and Carl Young. Karen Grigsby Bates, NPR News.
Republican Senator John McCain says Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has the upper hand in the country's civil war and diplomacy won't resolve the conflict. And he tells CBS's Face the Nation the U.S. should get off the sidelines.
We are seeing, unfortunately, a battlefield situation where Bashar Assad now has the upper hand, and it's tragic, while we sit by and watch.
McCain paid an unannounced visit to Syria last week. He says the U.S. should use unmanned missiles to destroy runways in Syria, and rebels should be provided ammunition and heavy weapons. The Air Force says it's accelerating the rollout of its advanced F-35 fighter, its most expensive jet, despite automatic federal spending cuts. And as NPR's Larry Abramson reports, the plane will be put into service before its software capabilities are fully developed.
The Air Force says its version, the F-35A, will achieve operational capabilities in December of 2016, earlier than previously announced. The plane is in testing right now, but in 2016, 12 planes will be put into operation and can even be sent into battle if necessary. But those fighters will not have the full complement of software and weapons. The Air Force eventually plans to buy more than 1,700 F-35s. The Navy's smaller fleet of F-35s won't be operational till 2019. Despite tight budgets, the Pentagon has stuck with its commitment to the F-35, which some critics consider a waste of money. Larry Abramson, NPR News, Washington.
A fire raging in Southern California's Angeles National Forest expanded fourfold overnight to more than 30 square miles.